Okay, we are going to pick back up here in section R4. This time we're going to be doing multiplying, which really can also be thought of as foiling. You'll see how those two differ. Um, and then also we're going to be doing factoring in the next section, hopefully. All right. Um, what we're looking at when we talk about multiplying, a lot of the problems that you'll see in the homework, starting with problem 25 on the R2 through R4 homework, will look like this, where they have multiply. I think what the directions say, or they might even say perform the operation as indicated. Um, they say multiply, and then the two expressions that they'll give you here to multiply together are x plus 5 times x minus 3. Something like that. All right. We need to talk about how exactly this plays out, and I need to give y'all a little bit of room right here to kind of show you exactly what we're working with. Okay, so let me actually just write this where I can get a lot of room around it to sort of draw a full diagram. I'm gonna put the same problem back down, but with a lot of room around it. X minus plus 5 times x minus 3. Okay. Here's what happens. They say to multiply, and this is what we start with. That's our problem. Here's what we do. First, we're going to take the first term in this first set of parentheses, and we're going to multiply that by the first term in that second set of parentheses over here. That's my first. All right. So when I multiply those together, x times x gives me x squared, like so. Then the O in FOIL stands for outer, which is this x and this outermost term in the other set of parentheses, my negative 3. So x times negative 3 is going to be negative 3x minus 3x, just like you see it there. And that step was my outer. Then, of course, the I in FOIL right here stands for inner. Yeah, inner. Just to make this complete. And so the inner would be positive 5 times x right here. And that's going to be plus 5x. And then, of course, the L would stand for last. First, inner, outer, last. All right. And 5 times, again, negative 3, because it has the minus sign in front of it, is going to be a minus 15 at the end there. Okay, so first, outer, inner, and last, just like that. That's where we get that acronym FOIL, and it's really just an acronym that helps us keep track of multiplying two binomials, is what we call them in a situation like this. Okay, I only have one more step at this point, and if your problem looks like this, x plus or minus a number times x plus or minus a number, where your x's or whatever letter are first, then usually this will be your last step, where all I do is combine the like terms and they'll just happen to be the two terms in the middle. Here I have negative 3x plus 5x, and negative 3 plus 5, if I grab a calculator, I'll get plus 2x minus 15. So all I'm doing there is just combining these two terms in the middle right here together to get that 2x. Yeah. All right. And so that's how I would do an example of foiling. And we'll take a look at a couple more here just to make sure we have the idea. My next one, I have y minus 4 times y plus 1, still multiplying. And when I multiply these, I do my first, y times y, which will give me y squared. My outer, y times positive 1, and that's going to give me plus 1y, but we don't have to put the 1 in front of the y because the 1 is understood. Then on my inside, I have negative 4 times positive y, so that's going to give me minus 4y. And lastly, I multiply negative 4 times positive 1 right here, and that's going to give me minus 4. A negative times a positive is going to be a negative, although I'm sure most of us are aware of that fact. Okay. Then it's another matter of just combining my inner two like terms. Again, my letters are the first term in each set of parentheses, and my numbers are the last term in each set of parentheses, and that's why it works out this way. Most problems will, but not all. At any rate, my answer becomes y squared. 1 minus 4 is going to be negative 3, so minus 3y, and then minus 4 at the end. Just like so. Alright. I'll go ahead then and take a look at a couple more here. Next one I've got x plus 6 times x plus 4. Multiply. Once again, first I'm going to get x squared. And then I do my outer. X times 4 is going to be positive 4x inner. 6 times x plus 6x. And then my last, 6 times 4, which is going to be plus 24. Okay. Last step, of course, is to combine my like terms, which are going to be the middle two here for obvious reasons. 4 and 6 will add to give me 10, and that is my final answer. All right. Let's change things up here a little bit and look at a situation where we will have a couple of different variables or letters. All right, same directions, but now I'm going to have 2x plus 3y multiplied by 2x plus y. Okay, I'm going to use the exact same procedure. It's just going to look a lot different in my answer. 2x times 2x, when I multiply there, 2 times 2 will give me 4, and x times x, I have to multiply those together to get x squared. Then on the outside, 2x times y will be 2xy. If you put 2yx, that's not really wrong. It doesn't make a difference. You're just multiplying 2 times x times y. It doesn't matter what order you multiply them in. Long story short, we like to put these variables in alphabetical order just to help us keep track of like terms. That's kind of the reason that we do that at all. If they're out of order, it's not wrong, but be expecting Course Compass to possibly give you problems for that. Okay, 3y times 2x, 3 times 2 is going to be positive 6. And then I put xy, or yx, depending on what I prefer. And then lastly, I have 3y multiplied by positive y out here, leaving me with plus 3y squared. Okay. Now, my last step, of course, is to combine like terms. And as I can see here, I've got two like terms. So I'm going to combine those and get my final answer, which for me on this problem is going to be 4x squared plus 2 plus 6 is going to give me 8xy plus 3y squared. And that is my final answer right there. All right. I'm going to do one more of those where I have a couple of letters, and then go on and talk about some foiling where I have more than two terms. All right. Another problem I've got here is going to be 2a minus 3b times 2a minus b. And I like to use capital A's and capital B's because my lowercase a's start to look like 9s and my lowercase b's start to look like 6s after long. So I like to just go ahead and go with capitals and leave no room for confusion. Alright, 2a times 2a here is going to be 4a squared. 2 times 2 gave me the 4, a times a gave me the a squared. On my outer, 2a times negative b, a positive times a negative, is going to be a negative, namely minus 2ab. Then on my inner, negative 3b times 2a. A negative times a positive is still going to be a negative. 3 times 2 is 6, ab. And lastly, negative 3b times negative b is going to give me a positive. Negative times a negative is a positive, and in this case it's going to be plus 3b squared. B times b would equal b squared here. Okay, now my last step again is just to combine like terms, which are once again the middle two. So negative 2 minus 6 is going to give me minus 8 ab in the middle, and at that point I am finished. I have my answer. and it's right there. Alright. One of the things that you guys will see in the homeworks here, we will have also problems that look like the following. And it'll say multiply, but all it'll give you is this. When I see this problem here, I know what to do. And the first thing that really comes to mind for me is this right here, 2 squared. What exactly does 2 squared mean? It just means 2 times 2. Okay. Now, when you have something squared, it just means itself multiplied by itself. Same thing right here. Y plus 5 squared, all that means is y plus 5 times y plus 5. Let me erase this so we don't get confused later. Okay. So, I'm back to square one. Very similar, very familiar territory for me at this point. Y times y is going to be y squared. On the outside, y times 5 plus 5y. Inner, positive 5 times y plus 5y. And my last is going to be plus 25. And I'm not done right there because I almost forgot to combine like terms. Alright, my last step is to combine my two like terms in the middle, giving me a final answer of y squared plus 5 is 10y plus 25. Right. Okay. One more of those, and then I will go on to the next screencast. The next example I have for us is going to be 2x squared minus 3y in parentheses, and the whole thing is squared, using the same type of method that I used before. It's going to be itself times itself